really a joy for me to introduce Sam Yao to give us a recital of his poetry. I actually first met Sam just a couple of years ago. Paul had known him for several years before I met him. And my meeting with him was at a poetry recital at his home in Laguna Beach up on a hill. And I'll never forget it. It was so stunningly beautiful. His poetry is so honest, so real, and so inspiring. He goes to every level of human experience and comes out into the light. And so I'm just really thrilled to have him here this morning to share with all of you. And before I get too gushy about all of it, I will turn it over to Sam. Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome, Sam.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm happy to have this opportunity to share with you my spiritual journey. I've been sitting through this group for the last hour, and that energy of resonance and the deep fellowship is palpable. I've been watching. I didn't say anything. I just felt the energy. So I'm very high right now, even before I start. So anyway, today, so the common theme about this poetry recital is soul's journey. And so let me start with the question, what is soul? I'm sure every one of you have your own experience. So our soul is that divine spark that was planted deep inside us, already connected to the source. And our soul helps us to remember our divine origin in this human incarnation. It guides us in our evolution to the highest consciousness and our return to our source. So my first poem is called Soul's Journey. The day you were born, you were given 4 gifts: self-awareness, free will, and ego, and forgetfulness. Who animates your heartbeat, activate your breath, comforts you when you are sad, celebrate with you when you are joyful, shine light through your darkest days, surprises you with joy in your deepest sorrow. Who nudges you to seek meaning and purpose, expand your circle of love, arrive at the unity in diversity, find your way back to source. You search from the ocean of awareness as a desire of the divine to experience itself as the unique you, one strand of the infinite glory and variety of its creations. You are a wave rising up to the beautiful dance of life, re-merging into eternity. That's the end of the poem. Experiencing our divinity. There are many ways to experience our divinity in various religious and spiritual traditions. For me, a defining event of my soul's journey is a particular meditative experience from which I wrote this poem. Meditation. Thoughts fly into my mind's chamber like uninvited birds. Without attention from me, they can no longer latch onto other thoughts New arrivals become spare. One by one, they depart. Without thoughts, memory can't linger. Tomorrow can't emerge. Without a flutter of past or present, my feelings subside. Lying still, I feel each pulsation in my wrist, the throbbing at my toes tips. I hear the thundering, rumbling, and growling in my guts, the welling and gushing of my arteries, blood. All sensations fall away into quietude. With the last trace of breath gone, my body vanishes, floating in immense emptiness, submerging in cosmic silence, without any sense of self, losing all my boundaries. On the edge of the horizon, I disappear into a vast awareness. Coming back, the quiet echoes through my empty body. I have traversed the void, the fullest emptiness I have ever glimpsed, shimmering with infinite created potentials. My heart explodes, no longer am I a tiny speck. The universe is in me. In that meditation, I experienced the oneness with the divine, or cosmic consciousness. That's another term. And oneness with the divine humanity and all creation in this universe. And now I wrote this poem to celebrate the glorious diversity in all creations while being aware of our underlying sameness in our divinity. Unity in diversity. 14 million years ago, you and I were born of stardust from the explosive expansion of the singularity. We share 99.9% of our genes, co-evolve with all of life in this rich biosphere of amazing beauty and diversity. Formless divinity preceded the creation of form, imbued it with and envelope it in infinite love. Bury a spark in each of us, a light to guide us to our source, which is how the human mind discovered the elegant simplicity of mathematics that hold the secrets of the universe, which is how the human heart knows we are deeply connected to all humanity, to our divine origin, to our collective imagination and manifestation of our future in a glorious web. Let's rejoice in uniqueness, the intimacy in sameness, and the admiration of difference. Each of us, a star shining in the tapestry of galaxy in the celestial dome. Each of us unique in the way we are human, in the way we are divine, and in the way they blend together in us. In the individuation of the ego, we synthesize our life experiences. We absorb expectation from our parents, from our church, from our school, from our friends and communities. Such become the substances for the ego to form our sense of self and our life's purpose. But the soul's purpose comes from a deeper origin. It is why we are here in the first place, even though we have no memory of it. It's carried in our energy field, and you will call on us from our subjective inner world that only we can know. A shift is necessary from conformity to outside expectation to our soul's invitation from the inside. Embracing our uniqueness means we are totally free to create our life and answer the call from our soul. So here's a poem entitled, "Do not let anyone tell you live someone else's life." Do not let anyone tell you to live someone else's life. You have a gift to co-create your special life with the divine. Let the spark in you shine. Live and dance like a unique spirit. Shape your inner world with quality that bring you delight. Live inside out. The outside world will coalesce into your design. Do not let anyone tell you to live someone else's life. Listen to your inner voice from your soul and let it guide you. Trust it. Living the authentic you will bring you freedom and joy. Claim it. Let the spark in you shine. Live and dance like a unique spirit. You are a soul incarnated in the human school to learn to love. You are frozen light that soon will take the soaring flight. Do not let anyone tell you to live someone else's life. Already connected to the source, turn it on and drink it in. Angels are always there to help if you let your intuition align. Let the spark in you shine. Live and dance like a unique spirit. You have been knocking at the door from the inside all your life. Turn around. You are perfect and totally lovable. Live it. Do not let anyone tell you to live someone else's life. Let the spark in you shine. Live and dance like a unique spirit. That's the end of the poem. We live our soul in our inner world. You alone encounter your soul in the subjective world of yours. How you live your inner life determine how you experience the outside world. The name of this poem is called The Inner Garden. There was a time you worried. People will not be kind. Life will deal you a bad hand. There's a garden inside of you. You are a soul caretaker. You can plant flowers of love. You can sow seeds of wisdom. When your garden is safe, your world is safe. When it is beautiful, your world is beautiful. When it is peaceful, you become a peacemaker. Your happiness comes from within. No one can take it away from you. When you are full inside, you see the half full in the world and feel it. You see the best in others. So they show you their best to you. People will be drawn to you. Events will coalesce into what you envision. Your outer journey take you to the four corners of the earth. Your inner one traverses across the universe. There is no outside world. Every time you look outward, it is a projection. Tend your garden well. Live inside out. The world you experience is within you. Okay, now I'm going to share with you something very personal. In 2016, my son Ryan killed himself. The moment I heard the news, I knew my life was changed forever. So this poem is my most emotional poem. It's called Transfigure, describing my experience with my son's suicide. When you put a bullet through your brain, you were only 27. You used to tell me how you sit alone in the park, watching others in silence. Dissociated, you said. You felt like a ghost, an alien who didn't belong. One scene after another, you relive each trauma like a full sensory, vivid replay in endless loops. You couldn't escape. You withdraw from life to avoid all possible triggers. Stay in your dimly lit room with the curtains drawn, a prisoner of your fear. You wake up wishing you were still asleep. You will sleep wishing you never wake up. In between, you drank whiskey to numb your pain until you puke. With tears streaming down your face, you told me it was too late. Your brain had been damaged. The alarm kept blasting even when there was no fire. It would not stop, inflaming past traumas in your mind. You were a runaway car with no brakes on your anger, and the gas pedal stuck to the floor. I will hug you and tell you you will live. You told me you were already dead. My heart was shattered in a million pieces. Fear gripped me. My pulse pounded. My body shook. When I heard that you were gone, there was an explosion of love for you in my heart. I feel closer to you every day. I see you everywhere, a baby in a carrier. A boy running to his dad, a young man in a cafe, birds, clouds. It's my turn to be endlessly triggered. I never knew about the bottomless well of tears in me. But your light has never dimmed. You are so loved. Your soul never carries a trace of injury. You have forgiven all who hurt you in human life. You have signed up to help mortals suffering in the same way from the other side. I have been dreaming of my next life, of being with you again, to do a better job of loving and protecting you. Will you let me be your dad again? I went through a period of grieving to grieve, I retreated into seclusion, and all my interests at that time dropped away. So here's a poem about grief. Let it cocoon you, dissolve you into an amorphous, excruciating brew from imaginal this from which you will emerge. Spill your tears, or you will immobilize you. Let it speak, or you will silence you. Do not shun front row seats. Suffering, death, mortality. Grief expands you. Let grief embrace you. Let it unfurl love and anger, guilt and peace all at once. Eclose love's permanence, shine through grief's exit. That's the end of the poem.
Sam,
Mhm.
I was wondering if you would like to have some time for comments
Okay. Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and then you keep reading, and then sometime
Okay. Yeah.
I want to open it to the group if they have any comments or questions. Well, I would like to tell you how touching your poem about your son was. I was crying, and how direct you are with your writing. I really enjoy your poem about how in essence we're all the same. Enjoying how was it the wording, and enjoying that we're the same and still
Unity in diversity.
exactly. It just so beautifully said. I'm enjoying your poems. Thank you so much.
I'd like to hear more poems.
Go ahead.
I'd like to comment before we go there, Harvey, if I may. I too lost a son to suicide, and there are several in our group that have lost our children prematurely. I'm in awe of your ability to find language to express the unexpressible, and then to have the courage to share it. It's quite extraordinary. And I've been wrestling lately with just the word letting. It's like, I didn't let him do it. I can't let life flow or not flow. I can't, that assumes a control that I do not have, because if I did, I would have changed the course of action and results, because we all get to live with that which has been amputated. So thank you so much for sharing that from a male perspective. Maybe that's where the language resides. I have not been able to write about it or or share much of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lovita. And Sam, I really appreciate your poetry and your honesty. I too have had my youngest brother commit suicide after his second divorce, and was deeply. It changed my life. And your poem on what is our soul, to me was it best captured in words the essence of what our spirituality is and experiencing our divinity. And I would really love to, would you give us the copy of your books? I would love to get copies of your poetry. It really touched me, and I'd love to send it to my sister. Bless you.
Great.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Mary Grace had something to say.
I just really acknowledge you, Sam, for your courage and willingness to kind of speak the unspeakable. I lost my husband to suicide, and I really lost relationship with my son. I mean, he's still living on this planet, but I have no contact with him, and it's a real depth of grief. And I struggle with finding the meaning in that, the meaning in my life. And I know with my son, the depth of grief and pain around that has also been the door that's opened a deeper level of connection with, with the divine that I connect to. And it's a gift along with it. And I appreciate you speaking the pain and the grief and the process that you have gone through. Thank you.
If there are no more
I
comments,
just noticed that there is a book available on
Okay, I'm gonna let you go.
Amazon. And
Thanks, Eric.
that, it looks like something we could purchase through
Okay, all the
Amazon.
best. Thanks again. Take care.
And I wanted to also say, Sam, that your poem on grief absolutely was resonating with truth, truth, truth. Because, so many of us have experienced loss in this group, myself included. And you really nailed it. My goodness, the way you described that silence and that loneliness and something about the groove of silence that you'll never emerge from, but then you do emerge. That was just beautiful. And I do want a written version of that for sure. Thank you so much for sharing. It also occurred to me that there's so many people that are dealing with grief in this group. Maybe we should have a little subgroup, like in the Inside Edge, how they had the little subgroups, we could have a subgroup on healing from grief and just get together here on Zoom and talk, because sharing with each other is so powerful. Just an idea.
thank you for the suggestion. Pamela?
Sam has, a site. It's Sam Yao, Y-A-U, poetry, samyaopoetry.com.
Yeah.
And it's very opening and friendly. It has home about Sam's soul's journey, poems, and contact. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
can get every poem in my book from the website too. So you don't have to buy the book. But the book is very pretty. So you want to print a copy, that would be a nice one to have. So, okay.
Okay, thank you. If there are not any, Eugenia, you're raising your hand? Oh, okay. So go ahead, Sam.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I ponder on my mortality and emerge with joy in the nature of life and death. Knowing Ryan is healed and vibrant in the spiritual realm was the main factor in my healing from the trauma of the loss of my son. So I wrote a poem called Unblemished. Do not cry when I return to spirit. Rejoice. My heart was broken, but I am not shattered. My mind was fractured, but I am whole. My body was wrecked, but my soul is unblemished. Trauma never tarnished the light emanating from me. I was perfect in my imperfections. The toils of living, sagging skin, wrinkled face, sloth-like movement, left no trace on my etheric body. Forever young and ravishing, I would traverse rounds in the flesh. I would see in all directions, be anywhere in an instant with mere intention. I would soar into the light, a garden exploding with roses and herbs, surrounded by peaceful mountains, embraced by all my loved ones on the other side. I see divinity in all of creation. Love is its essence. So I was healed by love. The essence of our soul is love, reflecting the essence of the divine, which is love. I was healed by the love of my family and friends, and love is the most powerful healing force. Healing occurs when we recover our ability to freely give and receive love. Love is the breath of the soul. So my next poem is the nature of love. Love is the force that binds, causes things to come together, to interact, to co-create, and to evolve in an endless cycle of love. Love is the most subtle force that belies the ocean of interpenetrating fields of energy and matter. It is more fundamental than electromagnetic, nuclear, and gravitational forces. Love evokes matter to become life through alchemy. It is not a feeling, it's the mother of all feelings. It is not a union, it's the union of all unions. Its shadow is fear. Fear of loss of love, fear of loneliness. The birth of all births, the creator of all creations. The drive of all creative impulses is disguised as thousands of things, amid which we have forgotten our true essence. For love subdivides itself into many forms of beauty. For beauty is in the eyes of the lover. The one who can no longer love can see no beauty in anything. Even truth is like a ray of light that can be bent in the opposite direction by the perspective of love, of fear. If you are a lover of all things, your strain of joy and bliss is unceasing. For you then live in your elements. For you are loved itself. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life, other than my son's death, and how I became a poet. For more than 20 years, I have been on a journey of personal and spiritual growth. I always knew that I am a spirit. With Ryan's death and my desire to be close to him, simply knowing that I am a soul was no longer enough. One day a question was stuck in my mind and would not go away. What if I live as a soul in a human clothes, rather than as a human who has soul? That pondering set in motion a startling inversion of priority. Asking my soul that question with persistence and commitment catapulted me into a surprising journey that I could not have imagined just a few years ago. I received clear messages from Ryan and two well-renowned mediums to write poems. I was told I would be a healer in words. That was unfathomable to me. I was neither a wordsmith nor a healer. I had never written a serious poem in my life. But my soul's whisper was unceasing. Within a few months, through a series of synchronicity, a poetry coach, an amazing artist to illustrate my poems, and many new friends became the angels in my poetry journey. The calling was unmistakable. I surrendered. My verses, together with love from my friends and family, have healed me. My poetic musing clarified, distilled, deepened, and ingrained the essence of past spiritual experiences onto my being. As I sculpted my poems, my poem was sculpturing me at the same time. And writing poetry has become a most joyous and uplifting spiritual practice for me. The soul's journey is one that discovers the true nature of the divine. And each soul is love itself. Peeling off all layers of reality, only awareness and love remained. So my poem has healed and transformed me. By sharing them, I hope they will heal and inspire others. So now I have a poem to share with you about gratitude. So become a little bit more lighthearted. Okay, step inside your favorite cafe. Look into the eyes of a waitress who has served you for years. Ask, how are you, with a thankful smile. And notice what arises inside you. Feel the cup of latte warm your hands. Let its delicate, sweet flavor mellow your heart. Behind the barista, can you see the farmers, the processors, the distributors from the four corners of the world, toiling to create this delight to start your day? How the window is eager to show you the golden sunset over the Pacific. The stair trap to rise to receive your next step as you ascend. The kettle to whistle a love song. The oven to ooze the delicious aroma of baking croissants. How the patient rocks grinded against the ocean waves for eons to turn into the finest white sands to cuddle your feet on the beach. How floating moisture, dust, and wind create the most gorgeous shape-shifting clouds to dazzle you. How the sun and moon take turns to illuminate you from the sky. Can you see? Every encounter is an exchange of love. How everything around you is alive, forever saying, I love you. Gratitude unlocks the hidden intimacy you already have. with everything. So here is a poem that kind of condensed the essence of my spiritual journey I want to share with you. It's called a prayer. Every year, this poem becomes my New Year resolutions. Love is the substance of the universe. May I be a receptacle for it. May it fill me to the brim and overflow to anyone who comes upon my path. May I be present with every sentient being and bow to the divine spark shining in their soul. May my heart expand to be more loving. May my mind expand to be more inclusive until I am one with the universe. May I be present with my feelings and my thoughts every moment of the day. May I be aware of awareness itself and know that it is the nature of my being. May I glimpse the fullest emptiness, shimmering with all creative potentials. May I become conscious of my habitual patterns, catching them by the head and not the tail. May I regain my freedom by not acting on them. May I embrace and transcend my shadow, but choosing to dwell in my higher self. May I empty and surrender this vessel so that spirit may inspire and dance with me. May I see what is unseen, perceive what is not perceived, remember what has been forgotten, converse with my eternal truth, walk among angels and guides with loved ones who have departed. May I cross the bridge between realms. I am a soul. I was never born. I will never die. Love will never end. May I live with the awareness of this veiled truth while shrouded in human form. When the time comes for me to leave this life, waking from the dream of my sojourn to earth, I shall smile and celebrate my return home. May we release our collective trauma. May we all heal each other and be healed by loving kindness. That's the end of the poem.
Beautiful, Sam. We have 10 minutes left, so see if you can budget the time so we can have more
Okay, the last one.
answers. Okay.
This is the last poem, and it's called Summons to Light Workers. On this bluish planet of ours, a tiny twinkle among billions of brilliant swelling galaxy lies a grand cosmic journey, an evolution of consciousness and ascension from matter to spirit. Humanity as veer off course from prehistory through the dark ages to the Renaissance to the industrial scientific information age, and is still searching for the promised land. We are obsessed with gratifying the senses and intellect instead of awakening to our true identity, our soul, the essence of which is love. This divine spark buried deep inside each of us is radiance untarnished, still awaits to be lived. People crowd into the temple of technology, bow to the golden calf of data, salivate for the spoils of artificial intelligence, or under the auspices of scientific materialism, idealizing comfort, not peace or joy. True power lies in the heart. Compassion for all sentient beings, the awakening to divinity within, and its union with humanity. Love stitches the fabric of gravity in the curvature of space-time, the universe cradle. The strongest force is hidden in the smallest nucleus, the softest heart, the plainest loved. We, the light workers, blessed and humbled by a taste of the union with the divine, must wrap up Earth's vibrations, wake humanity to its destiny of heaven on earth. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Sam. Any questions, comments? Pamela?
That was remarkable. It's the weirdest, it's not weird, it's usual. As you're reading, I hear a trumpet. I mean, a spectacular trumpet that has all of these melodies, all of these sounds. You could say part of it's jazz, part of it's classical, part of it's from Asia, part of it's from China. It's just spectacular music for the soul and for the uplift. So I want to thank you so much, Sam. And I'm also on your site, and I'm going to write a little note, but it's and the timing is incredible. It's just, it's speaking to me like today, the right hour. So thank you so much, and continue doing this spectacular gifting that you do.
Thank you.
Oh,
Whitney?
On the shoulders of what Pam just shared, I kept thinking while you were reading your poetry, God, he's just like Yo-Yo Ma. He looks like Yo-Yo Ma. He gives me the essence of what I feel when I hear Yo-Yo Ma's music. Do you know who he is? He's a great cellist,
Yeah.
like one of the world's best known, wonderful world cellist. Yo-Yo Ma. Thank you for that. I mean, I love your love.
Thank you.
Linda?
Yeah, Sam, it doesn't matter where you take us, but you always draw us in. And then you make us remember. Thank you.
Jenny?
Sam, I am very deeply touched by the transparency of your soul. And I only wish that you can teach us how to do that. You can really teach us to write poetry that way, to help our emotional life, to put it into writing in such an eloquent way. It reminds me of mindfulness, awareness. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Afton?
Yeah, I wanted to add to Whitney's Yo-Yo Ma. Like Sam, Yo-Yo Ma spreads love and brings people together all around the world. He's one of the people in any field, like he does with music, what is done with poetry here. So I just wanted to add that.
Lovita?
Yeah, it was like back to back. It's like you were blowing my mind because there's so many phrases or particular words that just jumped out. I love the way you, in your expression of the curvature, I believe you said the curvature of time, it just, that made it so much gentler. The picture that my mind presented, because we went to the Skirball Museum one time to see an Einstein exhibit, and I was moved at the display they had of his concept of time and outer space, and it was all curvatures. It was like the gentleness of it was just extraordinary. And then I took an art class where the teacher was saying that we live in a very masculine world because everything is squared, and that the organicness of life and the universe is gentle curves. And so when you brought that up, it's like all of that was exploding. I couldn't even stay up with where you went from there. But then the other concept in a different poem of the, and there are tears here, it's like being unblemished. It's like just the word unblemished took me off on another tangent. This is your way is to be savored. It can't be rushed or hurried through, at least for me. It's like linger and savor and allow it to, like a soaker hose, allow it to gently just seep, sink in to the places that need the nourishment of, the perspective. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Sam, echoing what Lovita said, you truly have driven home that poetry is healing. And I loved your line because I literally based my professional life on that thought that every encounter is an expression of love. And I think this group, Mastery Circle, probably tries weekly to live up to that ideal of truly coming from the heart, as was expressed by Whitney in her beautiful reading from the Four Agreements. I believe that your poems aren't meant to just touch us at one time. They're to be read and reread. And so I really hope that Patricia will give us all of the Amazon pages, and we can order the books and really continue to enrich our souls. Amen. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing experience. Thank you.